Hello, this is GEFerris, and I'm going to take you on a trip from Innarsuit. Some interesting shapes in icebergs. That very vertical one is probably not necessarily from Upernavik, but the next fjord up. I am on the west side of Innarsuit Island. If you want to have a little laugh, this iceberg is going with the current, which is the opposite way of the wind. Straight ahead is Sanderson's Hope, which is just opposite Upernavik. I am off of Innarsuit Island in my kayak right now. And this is the distribution of islands and icebergs. And behind that large iceberg is an island and was a settlement called Dusak. Here comes a northern fulmar. Note how he just glides over the water. The variation in minerals in this area is quite bizarre. The pink is pink feldspar. We have this series on this side, and over on this side we have lots of iron. Behind this iceberg is the island and Bukter Nayat, very tiny little town. And the wind has come up. Far off is the Greenland ice cap. I'm going to go paddling, but as I speak, fog is blowing into this area, and the fog moves fast. The sun is trying to break through. It rained last night. I'm just sort of sitting here looking at the fog hanging over in the distance. Earlier I saw some king eiders flying. It was about 15 of them. I've never been able to get close enough to them to take any meaningful pictures. Now I'm coming in on the backside of this island, and the fog from last night is lingering in this area. Now I'm on the outside and I'm just taking a panoramic view. I'm looking north toward this Yusak. Here's some dirty ice, and now we're looking at some fog just coming out. Oh, it's foggy again. The only thing I can say about fog is ice tends to glow in it. Just ever so foggy, 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 everywhere. But this happens in this area. Now I'm on the water. It's a little bit foggy today. Every minute the fog changes. It's about 5 knots of wind following me. This is one of those weird moments where fog is blowing up over. Just to show, cold air was coming in from the outside, off of the iceberg. Icebergs have moved into this area. This is a tabular iceberg. It's quite large. And it is outside the little village that you see inside there. Icebergs are always a threat to villages. Sometimes they close off access to the village. Sometimes they break up in front of a village and create a gigantic wave that washes things away. Even a small section of ice off of its side. It makes quite a huge noise. and spreads out a long way from the berg itself. This is because the temperature difference between the berg and the water is large. It's kind of like a major explosion when that ice chunk hits the water. And this is something you have to be aware of when you're boating, especially in a kayak. And I guess the center of gravity has changed a little bit here. This is the entrance to paddling from Innarsuit down to my yacht. Now I'm just gliding over the shallows and looking at the bottom. There's lots of snails down there. Occasionally I see a pteropod swimming by. Oh, it's fascinating what's down on the bottom. This is white feldspar. I'm taking a look-see at the extensive icebergs towards Upernavik from my kayak once again. It's not getting any better. A bunch of little eider ducklings. Some interesting rocks to look at with lots of iron, and then the ones that are higher in silica have been smoothed by the glacier when it went over these rocks. It's all folded and faulted, metamorphosed sedimentary layers. The amount of iron in this area is very high. Here's a lens of iron incorporated in silicaceous rock, probably grey-wax. Now I'm around the south side of this island. And this is the smorgasbord of icebergs. It's a little bouncy, 10 to 15 knots. Over here is just Innarsuit, which is rather interesting to look at. There's a layer of fog hanging over Upernavik Ice Fjord and in the distance to the south. Nothing like a good stable kayak to try to take videos from. I wouldn't do this in any other kayak. This is a long-haul kayak. This is some interesting mineralization on the island across from where I am camping. These are some fascinating layers in this series on this island. Have a little iron, to say the least, and listen to all the water melting quickly out of the iceberg. Some interesting injections of feldspathic minerals into other layers which are probably sedimentary in nature. It's hard to believe the colors of these minerals. And yet over there, looks pretty dreary. Now, as I am approaching the west side of this island, over here is an area where there is an iceberg on the other side that is breaking up. So I am not going to cross the Upernavik ice fjord because it might be just a mass of little shards of ice forever, and I'm not interested in dealing with that. I'd call this "don't call us, we'll call you" type of deal. Just endless shards of ice. This iceberg is rolling over, and this is the third time. Here's where Innarsuit run. This is an area where Innarsuit, a little fish, like a smelt, is caught. It's the effluent from a freshwater lake, and they come here to spawn in the summer. These waters are filled with mussels, seaweed, everything. Endless beds of mussels in this area. I'm just gliding along as the glaucous gulls are chattering above, keeping an eye on me. Actually, I'm near one of their nesting sites. In this area, amazon are caught, and over here is a drying rack for these little fish. People enjoy them year-round when they're dried out. There are several tents in this spot. And I'm just gliding along. And oh, what do you know? There's some sea urchins on the bottom. This is actually my first time of recording an area where salt and fresh water mix. This is just a wonderful moment. Now I'm coming out from the fishing area, and over there where there's that iceberg is where I came through. And once again, some fog is showing up. Fog is blowing in. Thanks for watching my video. This is GEFerris, your producer and narrator. I so enjoyed making this video. Dear God, they're looking at me.